were in Idaho at a horse race with your kids. And is it correct that ICE officers then came up to you and said that they would blow your head off?
That is correct.
That's the exact language they used?
No, they used, we're going to F and blow your head off.
That's just disgusting. And is it true that they said they could take better care of your kids than you could?
Yes, they did say that.
How did that make you feel as a mom?
Angry. I wanted to just run and go get my kids. I was just angry and scared for them.
And you're an American citizen, correct?
That is correct.
And Mr. Bazan, I wanted to hear your story. It's true that the ICE agents put you in a chokehold?
Yes, sir.
And how long was this chokehold?
Like 1 minute.
And what were you doing while they were having you in a chokehold? Were you trying to ask for help?
I was screaming everything I could, what happened before we got to that situation.
And they just ignored it?
They just ignored when I said I was a 16-year-old underage, U.S. citizen. He told me I was done.
And you had to go to the hospital afterwards for medical treatment?
Yes, sir.
And the nurse basically looking at you knew you had been assaulted?
Yes, sir.
And Ms. Ramirez-Sanan, you testified so passionately. I was so heartbroken when you talked about your autistic brother and your mother, and that they threw your mother to the ground. And when you talked about your autistic brother, they told you to shut up. This is going on in the United States of America under Donald Trump. I believe we need to arrest and investigate these ICE agents, hold them accountable. But I also believe that this agency, while it has been egregious under Trump, has been violating people's rights since it was founded. Frankly, through Bush, through Obama, through Biden and Trump, it has violated rights of Americans and of immigrants. Trump is just the most egregious case. And what your testimony shows is we need to tear down this agency and we need to start afresh with a totally different agency to actually uphold people's rights. So I'm appreciative of your courage today.
They're breaking the window. They have now broken the windows. They broke 2 windows, unnecessary. Threw my phone out of my hand. They'll be arrested.
When you use the symbols of my faith to promote hate, I'm going to come at you. Watch this video.
When the Jew resides in America, it will never be holy until all of you are gone.
Now I'm gonna make one challenge to you. What you do is take just a cloth off of your face and say it again.
Now you see that INRI on that cross? It stands for Jesus Nazaremus Rex Judiorum. That means in Latin, Jesus of Nazareth, King of the Jews. This dude is being anti-Semitic while holding a cross that says Jesus is the King of the Jews. Dude, you have the Latin word for Jews on your cross. How did you not burst into flames? What I love is this kid is surrounded by masked people who are fearfully recording everything. And he's standing in his power and saying, why don't you just take your mask off? And they can't do it because they're too afraid. And if your views make you so afraid of regular people on the subway, there's not something wrong with them. There's something wrong with you. The world is not out to get you. Jews are not out to get you. And Jesus is here to love you, not to help you hate other people. I love you, all of you, and I'll see you out there.
Christian faith calls us to something different. It calls us to hope. Hope does not ignore the challenges before us. Rather, it reminds us that history ultimately unfolds under the providence of God. Each generation is given the opportunity and the responsibility to shape the future in ways that honor human dignity and promote justice. The founders of our nation could not have imagined the world we inhabit today. They could not foresee the complexities of our global society or the moral questions we now confront, but they entrusted the future of this republic to generations that would follow. Now that responsibility belongs to us. The 250th anniversary of the United States should therefore be more than a commemoration. It should be a moment of renewal, time to recommit ourselves to the ideals that have sustained our nation and to the virtues that make those ideals possible.
the Advent season, the season of waiting, Jesus stands at the door, knocking, Revelation 3:20. Into holy reality comes the form of the beggar, the desolate human child in ragged clothes, asking for help. He confronts you and every person that you meet, as long as there are people cross or walk the earth as your neighbor, as whom God calls you, speaks to you, makes demands of you. This is a great series, a great blessing of the Advent message. Christ is standing at the door. He lives in the form of the human being among us. Do you want to open this door or close it? And this is the reality. Again, Matthew chapter 25 can be summarized all as Jesus stands at the door knocking, Revelation 20. Into holy reality comes the form of the beggar, of the desolate human child in ragged clothes, asking for help. He confronts you and every person that you meet, as long as there are people, cross or walk the earth as your neighbor, as the one whom calls to you, speaks to you, makes demands on you. This is the reality. What you do to others, you do so unto God. Christ will use people to confront you, to challenge you. And God will use others, again, to make calls to you, speaks to you, and demands of you. What you have or have not done to others, you do so unto God himself. And you are going to be judged accordingly in the final judgment. And so, on that note, so continuing on that point, Exodus explains in Amorth, now see the army of fallen angels. The final judgment will be the love that judges us. The last judgment will come when Christ returns to glory. Only Father knows the days and the hour. Only he determines the moment of his coming. Then through his Son, Jesus Christ, he will pronounce the final word in all history. We shall know the ultimate meaning of the whole work of creation, of the entire economy of salvation, and understand the marvelous ways in which his providence led everything towards its final end. This is one of the most difficult realities to understand. The last judgment coincides with the return of Christ. However, we do not know the precise time it will occur. We know that it will be preceded immediately by the resurrection of the dead, in that the precise moment in the history of the world will definitively and globally end. The couch again specifies that the presence of Christ, who is truth itself, the truth of each man's relationship with God, will be laid bare. John chapter 12, verse 49. The essential question is, what concrete rapport each man has with God? As I have mentioned, the solemn response to found in the Gospel of Matthew, the saved and the damned will be chosen on the basis of the recognition of Christ, the infirm and the hungry and the poor. Matthew chapter 25, verses 31 through 46. Two essential analogies emerge from this. The first is a schism between those going to paradise and those going to hell, between the saved and the condemned. The second regards the manner in which this judgment will be accomplished with love. God's commandments and other precepts are summarized solely as one commandment. Love one another as I've loved you. John chapter 15, verse 12. We can easily understand that this command is addressed to each human conscience, every age, including those who lived before Christ, those who today, as centuries past, never heard anyone speak of the Son of Man. Therefore, the finale of the stupendous passage, the beautiful passage of Matthew, truly I say to you, as you did the least of these, my brethren, you did it me. Matthew chapter 25, verse 40. If each man from his culture, epoch, and any other circumstance has love of neighbor, he has love of the Lord Jesus in person. Any rapport with a brother and sister, no locality, any age, any situation, all in all, a rapport with Jesus Christ in person. Each human creature receives the full relationships at the same time relating to God. For this reason, love of neighbor is a fundamental precept of life. John the Adventist helps us understand that we cannot say we love God, who we cannot see, if we do not love brother, who we can see. 1 John chapter 4, verse 20. The love that will judge us will be the same love that we have or have not practiced towards others. The same love that Jesus lived through his earthly experience and taught the Gospels. The same love to which we are entitled through sacrament, through power of the life of faith. The ability to love comes from grace and must reduce to those who know Christ, even more so those you do not, but choose not to follow my choice assumes as your sin. In this point right here, Father Gabrielle Amorth is stating that love, the ability to love, comes from God, is much reduced to those who know Christ, aka non-believers, even more so those who know him, but choose not to follow him, aka fallen Christians who profess to be of Christ, but have no love towards others. They are murdering their brothers in heart. They are not saved. These people are incapable of love because they do not have God's Holy Spirit. Because again, God himself gives us our ability to love others. So again, the ability to love comes from grace, is much reduced to the new know Christ, even more so that you do know him, but choose not to follow him, and choice assumes the searing. serious sin. Indeed, Jesus says, he who believes is baptized will be saved. He who does not believe will be condemned. Mark 16, verse 16. On the other hand, in announcing extraordinary jubilee of mercy, Pope Francis reminds us of the other fundamental aspect of the question as love, with which we shall be judged, will be love and mercy. Mercy is the ultimate and supreme act by which God comes to meet us. This mercy, he says, is the bridge against God and man. It opens our hearts to the hope of being loved forever despite our sinfulness. God's compassionate glance and his desire to live in total communion with us opens our hearts to the love of each sin, each failure inflicted on man by his great enemy Satan. Will be looked upon the eyes of a loving, accepting Father. Therefore, live full of hope, because we know that in the difficulty of life journey, God will wipe away all the tears from our eyes. On that day, death shall be no more. That there shall be no more, no crying, no pain, or other things have passed away. Revelation chapter 1, verse 4. Again, God is love. Those who are not love are not of God. And again, what you do to others, you do so unto God. And that is what's going to judge you in the final judgment.